What's good, guys? It's another Friday, and you know if it's another Friday, it's another Pulse Celeb 254, and my name is Mudhani Rongo. Today on the show, we have an amazing lady. She's a fashion influencer. She is also a millennial coach. That's very interesting. And also, she is the founder of IKOJN. It's a made in Kenya women brand, right? So we want to get to know who she is and pick her brain a bit, you know. We want to get to know what's happening in that brain. So ladies and gentlemen, Cris Njoki.
What's good, guys? I'm trying to imitate you there.
What's good?
Hi guys, I'm Cris Njoki, and I'm so happy to be here with you, Madhani.
Great.
Thank you.
So if there's anyone at home who doesn't know what Cris Njoki does, would you mind sharing with them what you do?
Yes, gracious introduction, first of all. I am a fashion, entrepreneur.
Right.
I run a women's wear brand called IKOJN, and I am also a content creator.
Amazing.
So I try and juggle the two of those, but my first baby, my first passion is fashion.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then if you also don't know, IKOJN is Njoki spelled backwards, by the way. I've just found out, so I have to let you guys know on that, yeah? You know?
No, first things first, IKOJN, the J is silent. Let's just start there.
Okay, the J is also
no
silent.
IKOJN, no IKOJN, it's IKOJN, and then it's Njoki backwards. Yeah.
Right. And was it premeditated, or you were like, oh, Njoki, IKOJN?
It was actually a bit of an epiphany, because you know how it is, like when you're starting out something, you really want the coolest name for it.
Exactly.
And I wanted like a cool name, like, you know, like a Gucci or something.
Right.
And I couldn't find any name because I wanted a name that reflected me, but not really. I didn't want to call it Njoki, you know.
I get you.
So I was just messing around, and I think I turned the paper upside down, and I was like, okay, that kind of makes sense. Maybe if you close one eye,
Right.
So then I ran with it, and here we are.
Hey, Manze, congratulations.
Thank you.
So we want to know a lot about you, but first things first, do you design your own clothes?
Yes. Like personally or for the brand?
So for the brand, yes.
Yes. So literally, I'm at this moment right now where I'm overworked because I'm the only person in our design team. All the other parts of the brand have grown.
Right.
Apart from the design team, I'm the only one who designs. I'm the only one who does the fabric selection, getting of the fabric. All of that is still me.
Right.
But then after that, it goes into pattern making and all that, and there's people to do that. But yeah, I'm still the one who does all the design.
Right. So you guys, just before, okay, you can go right now and check out IKOJN.
Go right now.
It's on Instagram, by the way. It's everywhere, right?
Yes,
it's everywhere.
Instagram.
And then come back and check out those clothes, beautiful clothes made for the woman, for the African woman, right? And there's something that you said, I think you tweeted.
No, my thing is, I feel like sometimes we're ostracized as women. It's like, oh, you can't be feminine yet still be bold. And it's like, I can be both, you know? I can still be, you know, feminine, soft, and like luxurious, but then I can still be a boss. I can still go out and do what I want to do and get what I need, you know? So
Right. And you have 3 outlets, man.
Yes. Oh my God.
So Westgate, Wasewa Westie, if you're watching from Westgate Mall.
Yeah.
And then there's one in Greenhouse, yeah?
Greenhouse Mall.
And
Imara Mall.
So Wasi, made in Kenya, appreciate the Kenyan people,
Yeah.
the Kenyan made in Kenya kind of thing,
Made
you know?
in Kenya for Kenyans.
For Kenyans, yeah man. So check out her clothesline and then come back.
Yeah.
Okay. So now let's talk about life of an entrepreneur in Kenya. I mean, like, we cannot have you here and then not talk about the economy and everything like that. Yeah. So how has it been, Njoki?
Girl,
this economy.
Definitely to tell you, everyone knows it's tough out here. It's tough. But I don't know. The thing is, I feel like because I've been with the brand for about 8 years now, we're turning 8 in March. Oh my God, we're turning 8.
Oh, wow.
So it's been a long time. And you can imagine in 8 years, there's been ups and downs.
For sure.
You know, there's times where it's even been worse than this. So sometimes, even now, the economy, I can't say it's like smooth. It's tough, but I look at it and I'm just like, we've handled worse.
Yeah.
We'll be fine, you know?
Itakuwa tu sawa.
Yeah, but then what that does for me is because I can see that the economy is not very good right now, people are trying to tighten their belts, then I need to see what I'm offering our consumer. As much as we're giving you fresh new designs every day, every month, we're also trying to introduce a lot of sales so that people can still be able to purchase some of the products they want without having to pay the full price, you know.
I see.
So we usually have sales once at the end of the month, every month, and then we have a new collection every month at the beginning of the month.
Okay. Ish. Okay, so
So we got you.
We got you, yeah? Cool. So I see that you work with a lot of influencers, a lot of fashion influencers. I've seen Natasha, Mweni, and of course my sister.
Yes, Maureen.
Maureen, you work with a lot of influencers.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't know if a lot of people have opened themselves up with working influencers, but what has it been like for IKOJN working with a lot of influencers?
So I think for us, it's been pretty, like, smooth, but also eye-opening, because being an influencer myself, I sort of have an idea of working with other brands.
Okay.
And so for me, getting into working with influencers, I'm coming in both as an influencer and as a brand, where it's like, you want to get that balance right, where you're not asking the influencer for too much, yet giving them so little, and vice versa. So the experience currently has been pretty good. And honestly, I'm so grateful. If you're an influencer who's worked with IKOJN to this day, I'm so grateful. I just want to say thank you. Maybe I don't say it enough, but
For sure.
The love we receive from influencers, it's overwhelming.
Yeah.
And being able to see people who are masters in that space, because these influencers, these are guys who've like worked with different fashion brands, who clothes and fashion is their thing.
Right,
It's their daily bread. So for them to come and actually choose IKOJN, I'm just like, oh God.
Yeah.
It's like we're doing something good. So it's been great. And
Amazing.
we really have a plan to expand that and really now get into, because another thing is, as much as these influencers who we see every day, in my vision, there's usually so many influencers who are not yet where they want to be, but these are people who have skill and talent. How can we get these underdog influencers who have even like under 5K, under 10K, but who are so passionate, and you can see, how can we get them on board and use them and grow with them? That's what I see for IKOJN.
For sure. You really sound like a visionary. I love the way you talk. Just before we even started this live, we were talking about awards, right? And now let's put it into the Pulse Influencer Awards. We had the Pulse Influencer Awards last year, and the theme was African.
Are you having another one this year?
Oh, definitely.
I'll be waiting for my invites.
Okay, so but just before that,
be in the mail.
but just before that, there's this thing about influencers, or say celebrities, Kenyan celebrities, and then coming to events, right? So there's a definite theme, guys, mvaya African, msikose kuvaa pink, but somewhere along the way, manze, people don't honor that invite, or that
code.
theme, the dress code, Why is that?
Why don't people honor dress codes?
With that, and then what usually happens up between, say, let's say you've gotten the invite 2 weeks before, right? So you have 2 weeks in advance to prepare for this thing. But then you show up and it's like, aye. And then also the reviews on Twitter, KOT will not forgive.
Yeah, I think with honoring a dress code, for me, I think it's a form of respect. Honoring a dress code is a form of respect. When it's very clearly stated that there's a dress code, say it's pink. Yes, you don't have to wear pink from head to toe, but don't come in a green outfit. Just like, give me something. Give me a little pink bow. I'm fine with that. So I think in terms of honoring dress codes, I think it's quite important. If an organization has taken the time to invite you for an event, the least you could do is sort of like go with theme.
Right.
Now, coming with what was the other question?
The African.
The African. So I didn't see every single person who came for the awards you guys had, and I know your theme was African. But I did look at some of the backlash, and guys are saying, oh, not everyone know African. But do people mean guys didn't wear African, or they didn't wear African print?
Okay.
Because African, especially African
Rudi hapo. You have to repeat that. They didn't wear African, or?
Is it that they didn't wear African fashion, or they didn't wear African fabric, right? So there's a very big misconception that African fashion is Ankara. That's wrong. African fashion is not Ankara. African fashion is made in Africa by an African designer. That's African fashion.
Right.
Even in the IKOJN brand, not all of the fabric we use is Ankara. But we're still an African brand, and the products are still African fashion. I can make a plain white outfit from IKOJN, and it's still African fashion because it's from an African designer.
Exactly.
So I think there just needs to be that very clear distinction, where not you can't just say something is African because it's Ankara.
I see that.
Because maybe not everybody wears Ankara print. You know,
Right.
it's not for everyone. Some people find it maybe too loud, you know, and some people are more minimal. So, yeah, I think saying they didn't wear African because it wasn't Ankara is unfair.
For sure. Very recently, you guys styled the cast of Single Kiasi.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, tell us about that, man. Was it season 1 or season 2 or both?
Season 2.
Season 2. Okay, cool.
So actually, because the producer is a friend of mine.
Okay.
And they wanted to now branch out and get more made in Kenya brands, really just like collaborate with a lot more local brands, you know. And so they approached us, and I was like, what? Of course. I love the show because I loved season 1 and I loved the ladies there. So for me, it was a no-brainer. I was like, yeah, let's get into it. We did it for, I think they started last year, December or November. And they've just been coming, picking what they need, and now we're seeing it on the screens. And every time I see someone on Single Kiasi and IKOJN, inside my heart is just like, oh my God.
That's amazing, man. If you don't know what you're talking about, there are people who live under the rock. But Single Kiasi is a show on Showmax.
Yeah.
So you can catch that as well in your own time, right?
And actually, we're running a giveaway on our page where we watch an episode a week, and we have a contest where if you can spot all the IKOJN outfits in that episode, you win a voucher.
Mnasikia hapa hivi manzi.
That's happening on
You only had it here.
Yay.
You know? So guys, go check out Single Kiasi. If you can spot any IKOJN outfit over there, definitely send it out to guys from IKOJN. They'll be definitely giving you that voucher, right?
Yeah.
So now let's talk about what's happening in the country. Very recently, our CS, what's his name? Nimesahau jina mazee. Moses Kuria, yes. Moses Kuria, who was talking about the ban on mitumba clothes. And I don't know how mitumba affects you. Definitely, guys should be definitely wearing made in Kenya brands, but mfuko bana. So I don't know, mtumba kuna nangaji manze.
Yeah, I think mtumba, that one's gonna be, I think it's a bigger conversation. Banning mtumba just like that is gonna be tough for everybody.
Okay.
Instead of banning mtumba, maybe let's reduce it. But on the other side, the government needs to also have sectors that can grow within the fashion industry. I can tell you right now, as a business owner who runs a fashion brand that's made in Kenya, one of the biggest problems we face is fabric.
Right.
There's no fabric made in Kenya. I can just tell you that right now. We have cotton fields, we have all these things, but all of the garment production industries, like actually producing the fabric itself,
I see.
They're all shut down, or they're all in EPZ for export. So it's like, if you're going to shut down Mtumba, what's coming to replace it?
Right.
They need to support this industry more than just, talking about closing off this and doing this. Because at the heart of it, yes, it's creative. Yes, we're designers. But at the heart of it, it's garment production.
Right.
How do we enhance that sector? Because these are, small, even making sure that in polytechnics, they're teaching people the skills of producing clothes more. So that as much as, yes, you're closing off this thing, it's like have another part that can grow.
I see. I see. So let's move away from clothes a bit and talk about being a millennial coach, right? So you are a millennial coach.
Yes.
Tell us more about that. What does a millennial coach do?
So honestly, that millennial coach was like a title. I just branded myself. That was about maybe 3 years ago. And the way it came about is because I would get a lot of people, especially in my DM, asking like, we can see you're doing such a great job, blah, blah. Could you mentor me? Could you guide me? Give me some advice, blah, blah. So, and some of these people who'd be asking for advice, sometimes it's not even for business. Sometimes they're just like, oh my God, my man did this. What do I do? And I'm like, okay, cool. I try and answer what I can on DM. But then later I realized, okay, maybe I do have an opportunity here to be able to give back and share some of the experience that I've gone through. I can tell you, it's been almost 8 years. It's not been easy. I had to literally start by myself, make sure I learn. We've gone through so many mistakes. I've learned, relearned, fallen, gotten up so much to where I was like, you know what, maybe if I can give back and help somebody who wants to take the same path I did, then they don't have to take as long as I did.
For sure.
Because then they don't have to make the same mistakes.
For sure.
So that's why it came about. It's like I started mentoring a group of people, 1 or 2 or 3 at a time. And, you know, these are people who we'd have maybe bi-weekly meetings, even on Zoom, phone calls, where they would explain to me what's happening. I'd give them some actionable steps, and then we could do follow-ups like every month. And I still have those people, and we still keep in contact. So for me, it was more than giving business advice. It was more just being there for maybe somebody who's, because sometimes it happens to all of us. Sometimes you're in a part in your life where it's a bit like knotted up, you're not sure how to detangle,
For sure.
and you just need someone to tell you that what you're doing or what you're thinking is good. Just push this way.
Or you're just gonna be fine, man.
Yeah.
You're gonna be fine. So a lot of people who watch this show are young people, guys who are starting out in life, guys in their 20s. You know, the 20s are hey,
They're the
both.
pits. My
Both.
20s were not good. Hey.
Yeah, so I don't know, any advice you'd give anyone who's watching and they're in their 20s, probably they're starting out in life. You know, guys just finished KCSE the other day.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Any piece of advice for them?
I think what I would say is be very intentional on finding out what sets your soul on fire. Like, whatever you do, and you know, you can try different things. And I think that's the best part about being young. It's like, try different things. You have time now to try, and you have time to fail, and you have time to get back up. Between 18 to, I'd say, about 25, 26, try as many things as you can, because that's the time that you can actually, first of all, you have the energy to do multiple things at once, and you have still the willpower to fall and come back up. The minute you get into your 30s, when you fall, you kind of stay there for a little bit.
Well, okay.
You need to catch your breath.
Need to breathe. Yeah, what happened?
Exactly. So this is the time to try out everything, fail, but fail forward. So what that means is when you're failing, don't fail and sit back there and beat yourself up. Fail as you're going on to the next thing.
Yeah.
Take every failure as a lesson, as opposed to, oh my gosh, I'm not good at this.
For sure.
It's like, okay, how can I do this better? So I would definitely say do more. For me, I think the thing that sometimes gets me a bit, you know, sad for the young generation is when I see people just sitting and binging on Netflix on a weekday, just sitting. There's so much you can do. Like, be active, like go to different places, look for internships, even if they're not paid, just ask them for like transport or food money. That's it. But you need to, literally, when you're young, you have the energy to do 2, 3, 4 things at the same time. Go into media, do something, go into banking, whatever. Just try and get so many things. Then that way, you're able to slowly see, okay, what do I enjoy?
For sure.
But if you don't try, you just know you enjoy watching Netflix. You don't know, like, by doing many things, then you're able to say, okay, my heart feels nice when I do this more than this.
I see.
You know?
I see.
And that's how you get there.
I see. I have to ask you now future-oriented questions, right? IKOJN. Where do you see IKOJN in the next year? I'm not gonna say 5. I'll say 3.
In the next 3 years.
3 years.
So in 3 years, I think, because right now IKOJN has the 3 stores. In fact, we weren't intending on getting stores. I had envisioned IKOJN to be purely e-commerce, but then now we have 3 stores and our customers love it. So I would say in the next 3 years, I think would probably add on a couple more stores. But another thing that I would want us to do is really build on our e-commerce platform. I want us to be able to serve not only Kenyan women, but outside of Kenya, its environs. So maybe Tanzania and countries that are bordering Kenya, and eventually even serve the African woman.
I see.
You know, we really want to be the ones dressing African women, and they can come to the website and it's a one-stop shop.
Yeah.
You know, you can get clothing, shoes, accessories, all of that. So I'd say the next 3 years is building on it, making sure we're getting some other local made in Kenya brands to come and join with IKOJN, so that when our customers are coming to shop, they're getting a range. You know, you're dressing them head to toe, not just top and pants.
For sure.
Yeah.
I see that, man. I've seen there's a reel you did about how to transform a scarf into a top.
Yes.
I love that. I was like, wow.
Imagine.
All the scarves I have in my house have potential to look this good. I really love it. So about your content creation. content creation has this big C on, in front of it that stands for consistency. You've been consistent for a minute, man. Is it like since 2017, 2016?
It's been a while, actually.
I don't know. It's been a
while,
minute, yeah? How have you maintained to be that consistent, man?
On social media.
Creating content and everything else.
How do I say? Okay, the thing with being consistent, I didn't have it before.
Okay.
Sometimes people look at consistent people and they're like, oh my gosh, you were born with it. No, it's something I had to work on myself. And, I just had a serious meeting with Cris. And I was like, what do you really want? And what's your plan? I know you're doing this thing and it's cute, but like, how far do you want to take it? And for me, when I really am honest with myself about how far I want to take something or what the vision is, then everything else I do has to lead to that. So for me, the consistency is one of the small things that I'll need to do to achieve the big vision I have.
I see.
So then it stops becoming like, oh, I don't feel like doing it today. Now it becomes, okay, we have to do this because of that.
Because of that.
You can, and there's maybe a couple, there's consistency, there's hard work, there's, networking, things.
Yeah.
All these different things.
Creativity, Pia.
Yes, creativity is also there. But you see, all these things, they can't rely solo by themselves. It has to be all of them together. So if one is failing, say consistency, guess what? You're not going to get to the finish line. So,
for sure.
Yeah.
You heard it right here, man. So in the next 3 years, we're going to be looking at an African brand, IKOJN, a big brand that's going to be serving the African woman. I cannot wait to see that, man. And I wish you all the best. We wanted this live to be very short so that guys can be able to go back to the beginning and start and be able to watch it and see what Cris Njoki had to say. But just before I close, I want to see what you guys were saying pale kwa comments. If there's any comments, if there's any question for our guest for today, remember we're live on Facebook and YouTube, so let's just see what's happening there. Like, what are you guys saying? Just give me a minute as my cold does the thing for me.
Now I know if I have a cold tomorrow, where it came from. Now I know. Guys,
my bad.
If you see me sneezing on Instagram, just know it came here.
Okay, so I have a comment to read. His name is Wairo J. Wairo J is a top fan. Like, he's always like watching our stuff. So he says, the Kenyan fashion industry is kinda underrated. We tend to embrace the fashion of the Western world more than the local manenos. Where did we go wrong as Kenyans? Thank you for the question. I think that's for you.
Wow. Okay. Where did we go wrong? To be honest, I think, part of it could be the accessibility. Kenyan designers, by the time I was starting my brand, I could count Kenyan designers on one hand, We didn't have many people exploring that side of themselves. We didn't have creatives, or people were creative, but they didn't have avenues to be able to create businesses, create brands. So I think for a really long time, and that's how Mtumba also became such a big thing, because people need to wear clothes and they need to stay on trend, be fashionable. But because there wasn't many local designers and brands to begin with, then we sort of lost it, But now I think we're back on the rise. Yes, it's not like the international brands are, but definitely I've seen an increase in consumers favoring made in Kenya brands much more. Like over the past 5 years, it's definitely increased. And people now are actually shopping consciously. You're finding a lot of consumers now actually saying, oh, it's made in Kenya. I think I'll select that instead of this other thing, And now as the fashion brands and the fashion designers, we just need to make sure that we maintain the level of of finishing. Like make sure that the quality is great, because even those clothes, Mtumba clothes, they're coming from big international brands.
Fact.
So people know good quality. Even guys who shop secondhand, I used to shop a lot of secondhand even before I started IKOJN. That's actually how I grew capital to start my brand. Is I used to sell secondhand clothes. So people know what good quality looks like. So we just need to make sure as Kenyan brands, made in Kenya brands, we maintain that level of quality. And that way, if someone is coming to support a Kenyan brand, it's like, oh, but it actually looks good, so let me stick here.
For sure.
Yeah.
I've just seen the live on Facebook and we look really nice. You look amazing.
Really?
I didn't tell you that. Oh my
You
God, I'm
too,
so
girl.
sorry,
You
man.
too. You look
amazing.
amazing.
Thank you so much
Yeah.
for being here, man.
Thank you.
If there's anything you wanted to say to our fans,
Yeah.
this is the time. Just before we close.
Okay, so guys, thank you so much for listening to the live. As she mentioned, our page on Instagram for IKOJN is at IKOJN Live. My personal page is at Cris Njoki, and I just want to say thank you. If there's anyone out there watching who's actually seen our brand before and supported us in any way, I just want to thank you so much. And if you're going to be a new follower and a new supporter, welcome. We love newbies and we love you guys. So yeah,
For
thank
sure.
you.
Definitely, man. We had amazing time. Oh, more questions are coming in. I have 2 more questions.
Okay.
What's your projection on the future of e-commerce in the fashion industry?
So I'm gonna say, because I think e-commerce really had a boom during COVID, right? And before that, because even for us, we started our e-commerce platform during COVID.
Okay.
Before that, we didn't have our personal website, but we were still stocking on other e-commerce platforms. So we were on Jumia and a couple of other websites. So I would say during COVID is when there was a boom. So everyone was rushing to e-commerce. Everyone was rushing there. Right now, it's going down a little bit because now it's like, okay, we're not stuck in the house anymore.
For
So
sure.
people are going back to actually wanting to experience things in the store. They want to go and feel things, touch things. So still there's a rise with e-commerce because you cannot beat the convenience of being able to see things
For
and
sure.
buy things on the phone. You can't beat that. I just know that it's stabilized a little bit. Before it was just like, okay, that was crazy. But I do see e-commerce as still a very viable option if you're especially a startup brand that's looking to sell any kind of product, any kind of service. E-commerce is your money. That's your money maker because you have minimal overheads. You don't have to think about hiring staff to be there with it. It's great, and you can literally earn money in your sleep.
For sure.
You know? Yeah.
Another question is, does IKOJN mentor or train any young or aspiring designers?
Yes, we do. That's actually a very good question. We do a lot of internships. So if you're interested in any internship of any kind with IKOJN, you can send an email to info@ikojn.com. So that's info@ikojn.com.
All right.
Yeah.
What do you consider your biggest setback and how did you come out of it?
Wow. It's actually a really long story, but I'll try and summarize it. But my biggest setback when I started my brand was actually in the beginning. So initially, I knew I wanted to start the IKOJN brand. And like I mentioned, I garnered capital from selling secondhand clothes. So I already knew how much I needed to start the brand. And seeing that I was starting a ready-to-wear brand, it's not like custom made where you get the money you make and then you give. It's like you have to invest in the pieces. So I came up with my capital. I had my money. Then I was looking around. I was like, okay, where do I produce these items? I couldn't find a place in Kenya. So I was like, okay, let's go to China. So I took myself to China and I found a factory. First of all, just the factories there are like humongous. So even getting somebody to produce our 1,000 pieces, and that was the minimum I could get. Like 1,000 pieces was the least. I couldn't get anything less than that. And even that for me was like, what, 1,000? No one even knows the brand. Like, that's a lot.
Yeah.
And that's per style. So I think we did like 3 different styles. And I remember we did everything. It took a while, but I paid the deposit. And by the time I was coming back, they told me, okay, so 1 month, and then your products will be ready. We'll send them to you. I was like, cool. This is now my savings. I'd saved, I think it was upwards of 1 mic something I'd saved. So I paid the thing. Then when they finished production, they told me it's done. The shipment is on the way. You'll receive it soon. Complete the payment. I did that. The products arrived in Nairobi and I was so excited that day. I was like, oh my God, my pieces. And I remember that day I picked up the first one from the box and it was totally different from what we'd agreed. The fabric was so bad.
Wow.
It felt like plastic.
Yeah.
Like it was such bad quality. The stitching was, I mean, even the zips were like such bad quality. And I was like, oh my God, I can't even sell this to anybody.
For sure.
I can't. And I was like, even selling this, it's like that's the first representation of the brand we're giving guys. It's not good.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, all my money has gone down the drain. These are savings I've been accruing for 2 years. And I remember I cried, for I think about 2 days. And my mom came to me and she was like, look, I know it's messed up what happened.
For sure.
But you can't stop now. So you cry, take the time you need, do your crying, but we need to keep it moving. So I remember I was sad for like a week. I couldn't even eat. I was so sad. I was like, where do I even begin, whatever. And if there ever was a time I was about to stop IKOJN, it was that time. That was literally a month
after you started. Yeah
a month. I was like, maybe it's not for me, maybe let me just go get a job, maybe. And after a week of crying, I came back with my red eyes and I was like, you know what, let's do this. And I just went, collected some few pieces of fabric. I'd already bought some machines before the China thing, so I just created my first collection by myself, stitched everything, took pictures. I remember even my model at the time was my small sister's friend. Took pictures of the items, created my lookbook, and just sent it out to fashion people. And luckily one person liked one of the pieces and they were like, okay, I like this, send it to me. And I sent it to them and they're like, okay, I want to sell them, give me 10 of them. And I stitched all of them myself, and 10 became 20, became 30, and then that's how IKOJN started.
I loved it.
Yeah.
I love it. Wow, okay.
Yeah.
Amazing story right there. Never give up, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Keep pushing, man.
Keep pushing.
Yeah. Like if you truly feel this is what you love, keep pushing.
For sure.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. Also, that speaks to me in a way,
Yeah.
You don't know the age. Na struggle kuivinja when they lakini.
Babes, you got this.
Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for honoring our invite. Thank you so much for the gems that you've dropped. I know a lot of people have learned something. We've also gotten to know you a little bit better. So yeah, guys, thank you so much for you guys also watching and tuning into the live. Definitely we'll be here another Friday next week, you know what I'm saying? So you better be tuned in for that. But guys, that's all the time that we had for today's Pulse Select 254 with me, Muthoni Irungu. Till another time, peace.
Bye-bye.